Hello. I haven't used the mic in quite a while, but I wanted to showcase something. I thought it'd be easier to explain with my voice uh, what's going on. So, I was working on some line of sight code, or whatever you want to say, feature for this fog of war stuff. And I was having a lot of trouble for a few days getting it to work the way I wanted. And I was getting pretty frustrated, but today I kind of realized that I had it kind of working initially, but I didn't really, I guess, give it enough of a chance to just try more things with it. So I finally figured out what I kind of did wrong, and I just wanted to showcase kind of it in action. And yeah, the idea being areas, I think it makes logical sense. Like, areas that have a higher terrain height, if they're between the player position and other positions within your potential field of range, or like your, how far you could see out, if there's a place that is higher than the destination, or like the pixels outward and your position, then you won't be able to see those things past that higher terrain. You know, like if you had a mountain, if you're trying to look, if you had a mountain and then a valley behind that mountain, if you were on the other side of that mountain, you wouldn't be able to see that valley because the mountain's in the way. So that's essentially what's going on here. And in this case, with Cybiades, there is a little spot here that is one in height compared to the water, which is 0. So it's giving this kind of good demonstration of the effect. And the same thing here with the humongous mountain in Tigaonos. It's doing that. It it looks a lot better, or it looks a lot more interesting in areas that are not so uniform or flat. Oh yeah, and also the other thing is that if you're on an elevation that is higher than other places around you, then you could obviously look downward. Um, or at least that's the simulation trying to be here, so you could see outward if you're standing on a higher perch. But if you're not, then you can't. But it's more interesting when you get into the more mountainous regions where the height is much more variable, such as in the Dragontail Mountains. Dragontail Mountains, it's a much more like I don't know what kind of shape you'd have that. We'd call that like a almost going up in like a pyramid, kind of like at a triangle, sort of like it's fairly consistent as it goes up. Like this is a height 4, or whatever, what I defined as 4, 5, 6, 8. But the interesting thing that I'm surprised kind of works is that I'm not even gonna mention it because I'm just gonna have a hard time describing it. But you could see stuff that is higher, like, yeah, it's I'm gonna have a hard time describing it, so it's like, eh. But there's a good spot. Like, you could see that the view changes because much there's this higher terrain in the way, and it forms based on that. But then when you get on top of it, you can see everything, and it's more interesting in like these kind of valleys. Let's see, there was one I think over here. That was a decent demonstration of it. Yeah, like right here. Like, you can see, okay, right now I can't see this because this is in the way. But then as I go around it, it's like, oh, now I could see it. It's an interesting effect, an interesting illusion. Um, and it's also cool near the Isle of Balferia, since it has a very kind of uniform height as it goes up or whatever. Like it's a consistent kind of height as it goes up. So you can't see much because there's all these like different elevations around. But then you get to the top, and it's like, oh, I can see everything. I'm really not sure how practical this will be, honestly. I think it's cool. It like for the end idea for the mod, it's going to be much more. You're gonna move much slower. Like this is more for just testing the speed. You're gonna have much lower of a viewing size radius here. Like this is massive right now, but this is just for testing. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this might work. And I'm still not even sure. Like I kind of after seeing it like this, I pretty sure I want to use this line of sight thing or keep this in here. But I'm kind of wondering like gameplay wise or whatever you want to say if this is like actually fun or adds much like this is cool to me just being like just having this kind of thing where it's like oh it like that's neat to me but it's not very well communicated by the actual like maps visuals where there's like mountains and like what parts are higher than others. Like in some parts, the way I did it, you just can't tell that some parts are higher or lower than others. It's not perfect. So it might be more annoying. I mean, I'm definitely gonna make this like an option that you could toggle on or off if you want this kind of thing, this line of sight stuff, because it shouldn't be that hard to just do that. But yeah, I don't know if people will like this or anyone will like this, but I think it's pretty neat just to be like, oh, look at that. Like, you can't see past this big mountain here, so you have to go around it or you have to climb over it, which would probably take much longer than potentially going around it if you want to see what's on the other side. I don't know. I just think it's pretty cool, and I'm glad it's working better than I expected. Because initially I was having a lot of issues, like I mentioned, but just kind of magically it was like, oh, it actually was working pretty much fine. I just needed to change a few more things. I still need to add a few more variables here. Um, I want to make it so like not every height difference will make it so it blocks line of sight, like, but most of them do. Like from 0 to 1, maybe it won't block it, but from like anything above that or something, then it will. Pretty interesting around here. This island has a much higher height than other parts, so it like blocks everything. I don't know. I think it's cool, but this video went way longer than it needed to. Me just rambling, but yeah, that's what I wanted to show. It working, and yeah. Thanks for watching.